Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We are taking a look at a big-time Pac-12 matchup as the USC Trojans and that high-powered offense go on the road to play a team that is very tough and a team that is underrated in the Oregon State Beavers. I'm excited to get into this one. USC is a team that we've made some money on this year, a team that is very controversial. A lot of people like to say USC is only playing 7-on-7. They can't run the ball. They can't win the trenches. They've run the ball for over 7 yards a carry combined with Austin Jones and Travis Dye. They move the football. They have some guys on defense that I like. I think that defense is still coming together. But before we get into it again, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support you guys have shown the channel, whether you like talking college football betting, whether you just like talking college football, watching college football. We really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown. I love talking ball, learning about your guys' teams in the comments section. So if you like the content, consider subscribing and also leave a comment about what you think this game is going to play out as. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about y'all's teams. Let's get into it. I want to start with USC just because they're such an exciting team to talk about. Obviously, Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley. That offense, when it is firing on all cylinders, is pretty much impossible to stop. And when you looked at why we won so much money betting on USC, asking me to lay 10 points with USC doesn't scare me just because of how many points. I mean, they're putting up over 50 points per game. There's not many teams in the country that can win in a shootout like that. Teams are moving the ball against USC, but USC is doing a great job in turnovers, which we'll talk about a little bit later. There's just not many people that can score, many teams, I should say, that can score and that can beat USC in a track race. We've seen that so far. Caleb Williams looks in command. He looked a little rattled at times in Fresno State, kind of breaking the pocket and kind of uncharacteristically. But on all, I mean, he's been extremely sharp. And how can you not be sharp when you're throwing to – I haven't seen a wide receiver room not only top-heavy like they are, but just so deep. I mean, you look at the guys in that room. Starts with Jordan Addison, Blitnikoff Award winner, one of the best wide receivers in the country. I love how many touches they're scheming him up. It's not hard to scheme up Jordan Addison, but they're letting him cook with some short passes, letting him just get the ball in his hands, be a playmaker. He's also very good down the field. His ability to track deep balls, you don't see that at the college level very often. That's something hardy. A lot of guys are fast. A lot of guys are big. If you can have those ball skills that Jordan Addison does, the route running ability that Jordan Addison does, that's why he's so special, and he's making that happen at USC. Mario Williams, the guy that I actually projected to be the leading receiver for USC. It's looking like I'll be wrong about that. But he's also kind of showing that continued chemistry with Caleb Williams coming over from Oklahoma. Continue to look at it. Taj Washington hasn't really produced much the last 2 games. I believe he was hurt for one of the games. He's still a playmaker. Gary Bryant, Kyle Ford. The list goes on and on with the guys. Brandon Rice you could throw in there. And those are guys that aren't even really producing that much just because the top guys are doing so much of the workload. This wide receiver room is disgustingly deep, and we knew that they would be able to throw the ball. I mean, Lincoln Riley, one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the country, with Caleb Williams, who's just dripping with arm talent and seemingly starting to put it together a little bit more. What I've been most impressed with it, the narrative was, how is USC going to block up front? And it's just a lazy take. You look at some of the guys they have. Andrew Voorhees is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. Brett Nealon, that center position. I feel like he's been there for 6 years. He's played a lot of football. Cortland Ford, very, very good. Bobby Haskins coming over for Virginia. And this offensive line is good, and it's showing it. They've been running the ball just as good as they are throwing the ball. I mean, Austin Jones is averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Travis Dye averaging 7.6 yards per carry. Everywhere you look on this USC offense, they can hurt you, and they can pass protect, and they can run the football. Once you start running the football well, bringing those safeties in the box, that's what Jordan Addison attacks over the top. This offense, when it's clicking, it's just such a pleasure to watch. On the defensive side of the ball, that's where you might have some concerns. You look at their stats through 3 weeks, and they've played some decent offenses like Fresno State and Stanford. I mean, they can sling the ball around, only allowing 19.7 points per game. But you look at it, the yards allowed, 380. They're letting people move the ball a little bit. The big number that you circle, but you also have some question marks, is 10 turnovers through the first 3 games. They're doing a very, very good job intercepting the ball, 7 interceptions, 3 fumbles, turning the ball over. You can move the ball against them. You got to make sure you take care of it. USC is doing a very good job getting takeaways. Those takeaways mean so much when the ball is going back into Caleb Williams' hand. which is at this point like a 50% touchdown rate that they are having on their drives. It is truly incredible what they're doing on offense. On defense, they're still kind of figuring it out. You're seeing some breakdowns at the second level, guys kind of running wide open, missed assignments. That makes a lot of sense. You look at this defense. I mean, they only have one guy, Tuli Tuipulotu. I'm just going to call him Tuli. I can't get that last name. He's been phenomenal. 3 sacks on the year. Outside of him, there's not many guys returning from last year's team. It's a new defensive scheme with Alex Grinch, and you're seeing those growing pains happen. But again, what's the biggest stat on the defense side of the ball? How many points you're allowing per game? It's under 20. USC's been solid on defense. Yes, they can continue to improve, but they will continue to improve. I love some of the names. You take a look at Eric Gentry, who he's still learning the game. He's a 6'4", really wiry linebacker, the transfer from Arizona State. Man, he continues to get better. He's going to be one of the best linebackers in the country. Shane Lee coming over from Bama. I think he's giving you guys some good reps. I'm still waiting on Corey Foreman. I mean, he's not playing as much as I would like, but again, top 3 guy nationally coming out of his recruiting class, waiting for him to put it together. They have some names that you really like on the defense side of the ball. You're just waiting for them to put it together. Now, let's talk a little bit about Oregon State and how can Oregon State beat them. I think it starts with the recipe for beating USC is running the ball, controlling the time possession, and limiting the amount of times Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley get to touch the ball on offense. Oregon State can do that. They run the ball extremely well. They have some really – Fenwick running the ball very hard. The true freshman Martinez running the ball very hard. And Chance Nolan he's not dripping with arm talent like Caleb Williams is, but he's played a lot of football, and he's a chain mover. And it's not always pretty, but he can get it done with his legs. He can make the throws that Oregon State asks him to make. And when you're looking about how you're going to beat USC, you got to keep the ball out of the offense hand. So move the chains, control the time possession, be able to run the football. When we're looking at potential matchups for USC down the road, what scares you is a team like Utah that can run the football, can keep that USC offense off the field. If Oregon State's going to win this game, they're going to need to do that, get that crowd involved, get a lead, and kind of give USC a little of adversity that they haven't really had. I mean, when they were playing Stanford, when they're playing Fresno State, they were up 2 scores in most of those games. It wasn't really – I'm not going to say there was never a doubt, but they weren't really kind of feeling it. If you can get Caleb Williams pressing a little bit, you saw him at Oklahoma when he starts pressing, that's not great. If Oregon State can keep this one close at home, I think they could maybe get it done. But when you're asking me to make a pick, we're going back to the well. USC minus 6.5. Again, I don't see – there's not many college football teams in the country that can match up athletically, and you saw this with Stanford. Stanford's a solid defense, but they just didn't have the athletes on the outside to account for guys like Jordan Addison, guys like Mario Williams, and then in the box, tackling Travis Dye and Austin Jones. They just didn't have the athletes. I have that similar question with Oregon State in the sense that do you have enough DBs that you trust to take care of Jordan Addison, to take care of Mario Williams, to take care of all those receivers? That's my biggest question. I don't know. I do have a slight lean to the under because I do think Oregon State, if you want to win this football game and you're the Oregon State Beavers, you got to slow the game down. You got to bleed the clock a little bit. I think Oregon State will have to do that. And you look at that total at 71, that's a big, big number. That's a number you see when 2 offenses are going to run extremely fast. I don't think you'll see that with Oregon State. I think they're going to try to slow the game down, muck it up a little bit, and it will because, quite frankly, they're outmatched athletically on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think USC's defense is as bad as Vegas is saying. I think USC has some playmakers. They do get off the field. I mean, 10 turnovers is a lot through 3 games. They do a very good job with that. Taking USC minus 6.5, at the end of the day, they're the more talented team. They're a more explosive team. I think they take care of it. Again, hopefully cash a ticket out for the boys. Wanted to keep it short for you guys. Again, if you like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate y'all. And let us know in the comment section what your take is on this game. We appreciate y'all, and we will talk to y'all later. Peace.